from us. Our new cardiac center has been waiting for you.
You'll be the one in charge of our cardiac center? Is that okay?
You're Dr. Liang's star student. If you leave...
Well, look at me now. I didn't get promoted to chief physician. I didn't become the department director. How am I a star student?
Jubilee Party criticizes United Opposition decision to field single candidates in upcoming by-election in November.
Plus, the Supernova Festival. Just what does October 7th mean in Israel? All that coming up. But first things first, a look at our top stories tonight.
We must amplify the voices of those living in poverty and vulnerability and ensure that developing countries, most of them in Africa, are fairly represented.
Driving the point home.
President Ruto insists that Africa deserves 2 permanent seats in the United Nations Security Council with full rights and privileges. Be warned.
Weatherman warns of continued heavy rains with possible flooding and landslides in some areas.
We are just pleading with the unions to understand that our fiscal space is limited.
The worst of the worst, Chair, is 80-20. They give us 80% and the 20% to remain. 80% will be 5 billion. So that 2 billion is taken to 2026, 2027. My irreducible minimum for the sake of you and the honorable committee members and the students of this country.
The how quagmire.
Striking university lecturers fail to agree with government on how 7.2 billion shillings owed to them can be paid.
Plus,
war on zoonotic diseases.
Kenya scales up its ability to respond to the spread of animal to human diseases. Thank you very much and a warm welcome to Prime Edition. My name is Mboya.
I am Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Susan Thuku. Interact with us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1.
We'll sample some of your views at the tail end of this live broadcast. Straight to our lead story now. There is yet to be a breakthrough on the ongoing lecturers' strike after the Ministry of Education and the University Academic Staff Union, WASU, failed to reach an amicable agreement on how the 7.2 billion shillings demanded by the Dons will be paid.
In a meeting brokered by the National Assembly Education Committee, which was attended by Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi, his education counterpart Julius Migos, and officials from the university unions, the parties failed to agree on the modalities of how the money will be spread into 2 phases, with the striking Dons insisting it can only bend backwards to accommodate 80% as fast payments.
That's the report that opens our coverage tonight.
After close to 2 months of hard stances, negotiations and renegotiations, the lecturers' 50-day strike finally landed before the National Assembly Committee on Education. The meeting only having one agenda: to unlock the stalemate that has seen students in public universities out of the lecture halls for close to 2 months. The payment framework of 7.9 billion arrears owed by lecturers in the 2017-2022 collective bargaining agreement. Already, government had offered to pay them in 2 phases, but lecturers' union maintained a one-off payment phase, saying the payment was long overdue.
There are members who have retired since 2017-2021. They are at home. They need their pension. 2, if we push this 50% to 2026, 2027 financial year, already there are commitments, and the Ministry of Education is going to be constrained.
Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi during the meeting was forced to raise the amount in their 2-pay phased offer from 2.16 billion to 3.85 billion shillings, promising to complete the remaining amount in the 2026-2027 financial year.
We are just pleading with the unions to understand that our fiscal space is limited.
It is on the basis of the supplementary, which is this coming month, and you are here. Everybody knows that this team, the unions and the professors, they're the ones who teach economics and commerce. It's not possible for me to agree here and say immediately I go outside, once they sign, I give them the money. There's that process.
What the CS is afraid of is a paycheck tomorrow. And that's what you are saying. Yes. Which actually is not feasible, as we discussed now. It's not possible.
So when is the CS suggesting?
Order,
the CS is suggesting
order. You're out of order. So the CS is in agreement, but the issue is it is supposed to be in a supplementary budget. And we are all in agreement on that. So you go back and do the return to work formula, and those are the issues you will capture it. SG, yes.
But Universities Union, led by Universities Academic Staff Union Secretary General Constantine Wasonga, expressed fear that the government may be overwhelmed with the already outstanding arrears and that their position on the one-off payment still remains.
The worst of the worst, Chair, is 80-20. They give us 80% and 20% to remain. 80% will be 5 billion. My irreducible minimum for the sake of you and the honorable committee members and the students of this country.
The committee, however, put the 2 CSs to commit on honoring the promises in a move to end the impasse.
And the CS has committed himself. National Treasury has committed themselves. Up to when? I think we can say if you can do it by December, that's December salary would be good. But
the payment framework remaining thorny. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
Well, we continue with a quick correction of our incredibly talented sign language expert tonight is Lucy Moura and not Susan Thuka, as we had mentioned earlier. But let's move on. As the Kenya Certificate of Secondary School Education examinations continue, a family from Kopio village, that's in Homa Bay County, is mourning following the death of their kin.
Police Constable Crispin Ouma Dia was shot dead while guarding KCSE and KJSEA national examination papers in Turkana County.
Now, meanwhile, examination supervisors have been urged to ensure that no authorized persons or materials are allowed in examination centers to protect the integrity of the examinations.
Nancy Okware compiled this report.
The 2025 KCSE examinations continued on Tuesday, with the candidates sitting for the mathematics paper that started at 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. From 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., the candidates sat for the English paper that tackles comprehension, literary appreciation and grammar. However, as the exams continue, the family of Police Constable Crispin Ouma Dia has been thrown into mourning. The officer from Homa Bay County was reportedly ambushed by unknown assailants who opened fire and made away with his firearm as he was guarding the exams in Turkana County. The family is appealing to the government for assistance as the deceased was the sole breadwinner.
Mwisho tuliongea saa 3 usiku na yeye Sunday. Amekaa like 7 years kazini.
Alikuwa anafundisha hao watoto wa brother wake. Kwa sahi hao watoto wamebaki. Sasa sijui nitaanza na wapi na nitamaliza na wapi. Sasa naomba tu serikali watusaidie mtoto wetu apate haki.
Na huyu semeji yangu ndio alikuwa ananifundishia mtoto, ameacha mtoto kwa form 2. Sijui vile nimesimama hapa nitaanza kwa wapi. Wa serikali munisaidie nipate vile nitafundisha hawa watoto na vile nitakula. Juu bwanangu alisakufa, aliniacha na watoto wadogo kwa nyumbani.
In Kakamega County, examination invigilators were urged to be alert and ensure that no unauthorized persons or materials make it to the examination rooms.
Whatever frisking you do, some people still sneak them in somehow, and that is not right to do. The second thing is to watch out for non-authorized personnel within the compound. When we see them, naturally, we are always suspicious about what they are doing in those schools. The third thing, of course, is to watch against collusion. And I normally tell the center managers and supervisors, you may not be aware what the children have planned in advance.
In Kisii County, Kisii Central Deputy County Commissioner Joseph Mwangi urged the center managers to remain vigilant and ensure the exam's integrity is maintained throughout the exam period.
We want to retain very high level of integrity for this exam. We don't want to get closed. We don't want them switching off CCTV. We will be monitoring. Myself and my director here, we will be going round and we will be checking what is happening. We are really discouraging any fishy thing to happen in the school.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
And our prayers to the family of the deceased during this difficult moment.
On to other developments tonight. President William Ruto has reiterated Africa's demand for 2 permanent and 2 non-permanent seats at the United Nations Security Council with full rights and privileges.
Well, delivering a statement on behalf of the African group of states at the ongoing Second World Summit for Social Development in Doha, Qatar, on Tuesday, the president said that a permanent seat at the United Nations will help to amplify the voices of those who are living in poverty within the continent of Africa and also ensure that they are fairly represented in multilateral institutions.
Here is our reporter Abdi Aziz Hashim with the details.
President William Ruto has reignited Africa's plea of equal representation within the United Nations top decision-making organ, the UN Security Council.
The African group reiterates its demand for 2 permanent and 2 non-permanent seats for Africa on the UN Security Council with full rights and privileges.
Speaking at the ongoing United Nations Second World Summit for Social Development in Doha, Ruto says the plea, if implemented, will change the tide and ensure Africa achieve its goals and amplify the voices of those living in poverty and enhance productive capacity and expand access to global markets.
This is a defining step towards justice and healing for Africa and its diaspora, calling for accountability for the crimes of slavery, colonialization, apartheid, and exploitation that caused lasting human and environmental harm.
The president also called for a comprehensive reform of the international financial architecture to make it fair, transparent, and responsive to the needs of developing nations and their people.
We urge decisive action on debt distress and progress towards United Nations Framework Convention on International Tax Cooperation.
President Ruto urged the world leaders to embrace affordable housing as a core pillar of social justice.
Housing insecurity, manifesting through homelessness, overcrowding, and substandard shelter, continue to breed inequality. As housing costs outpace wages, affordable housing must become a cornerstone of social development.
On education, he told the meeting that the government has completed the transition to the competence-based education and training system, hiring of more teachers and introducing a student-centered funding model for higher education that guarantees quality education for every learner.
We have hired 76,000 new teachers, a number that will reach 100,000 by January 2026, improving the teacher-to-learner ratio.
The 3-day summit will center on poverty reduction, decent work and social inclusion, bringing together world leaders to chart a renewed global social agenda.
Hunger is rising, growth is slowing down, and vulnerability is deepening.
Meanwhile, President Ruto held talks with His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar, in Doha, on the sidelines of the summit to expand Qatar's investment footprint in Kenya, particularly in agriculture, infrastructure and financial partnership to drive economic growth and unlock new opportunities. The head of state also joined a high panel on education that seeks to end poverty, create decent work and achieve inclusion for all. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
The president building a case for those 2 seats at the global level. Now, let's move on. The weatherman is also sending a warning of continued heavy rains, isolated flooding in poorly drained urban centers and possible landslides in the hilly areas in November.
The latest prediction comes in the wake of a landslide that claimed lives in Elgeyo Marakwet.
Environment Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa says that government will continue to keep tabs on the weather patterns, adding that 29 million shillings was spent to support victims of floods in Trans Nzoia County.
Yusuf Farah compiled this report.
Barely a day after 2 people lost their lives in separate landslides in Elgeyo Marakwet following the weekend tragedy that claimed the lives of 21 others in the same county, the weatherman has warned of continued rains into November with the possibility of flooding, landslides and lightning. In its weekly report, the Kenya Meteorological Department urged Kenyans to closely watch out for alerts. They've sent out a warning of flooding in poorly drained urban centers and landslides in the hilly areas. Lightning strikes are expected in areas like Kisii, Kisumu and Narok, with warnings to the members of the public to avoid walking or driving through flooded areas and not shelter under trees and near grilled windows during a storm. The October, November, December seasonal forecast also shows near to above average rainfall in the Lake Victoria Basin, highlands west of the Rift Valley and the central and south Rift Valley. Near to below average or depressed rainfall in the highlands east of the Rift Valley, including Nairobi, southeastern lowlands, coast and most of the northeast, and unevenly distributed rainfall with intermittent dry spells in several parts of the country. This even as the government says it spent 29 million shillings in support of victims of floods in Trans Nzoia County. Environment Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa, speaking during an emergency food support program for flood victims called on Kenya.
Tunafanya kazi pia na pata za tutashirikiana wameathirika wapate fidia kidogo ya kuwaboost ndio waendelee na maisha yao.
She pledged the government will support affected families to renovate and rebuild their homes in the affected areas as part of ongoing relief efforts. Yusuf reporting for Prime Edition.
15 minutes past the top of the hour. That is the story that brings us to a fast break right here on Prime Edition.
More coming up with the detail and clarity you deserve.
Stay with us.
Ulihatarisha maisha ya watu kwa kuwauzia mtura na sambusa ambazo ulikuwa umezitengeneza kwa kutumia nyama ya mbwa.
ni ile nilikula.
Si ndio?
Ni ya hii umbo.
Si ndio? Hai, ati hai. Hot dog ya.
Ulikuwa tengeza hot dog za aina gani?
Umbwa moto mheshimiwa.
Unapika, unashiba.
Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
Take this opportunity to welcome all Kenyans and our international visitors to the third edition of the Maa Cultural Week celebration that happens annually. This year's motto is promoting Maa cultural expressions for socio-economic development, and the venue is slated for Amboseli National Park in Kajiado County. And it is an all-system go. All the preparations are on course. This is supported by our county governments and the national government as well. And we'll be hosting, the president will be attending the occasion. So we welcome you, Kenyans and our international visitors to Amboseli to celebrate with us the iconic Maa culture.
This year, we're going to celebrate our Maa culture in Kajiado at Amboseli National Reserve, promoting Maa cultural expression for socio-economic development.
Maa Sintai Orgeretilang.
Maa Sintai Orgeretilang.
Maa Sintai Orgeretilang.
Maa Sintai Orgeretilang.
Kijo Maa Sintai Orgeretilang. Karibuni wote.
Maa Sintai Orgeretilang.
The Far East, the Middle East, the West, and even the African continent, all are welcome. Maa Sintai Orgeretilang.
Maa Sintai Orgeretilang.
Maa Sintai Orgeretilang.
A warm welcome back to Prime Edition, our socials at KBC Channel 1 on X, Facebook and YouTube. Tom, onto Political Watch.
That's right. The Jubilee Party has criticized the United Opposition's decision to zone regions and present a single candidate for every zone ahead of the upcoming November 27th by-elections.
Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni says this formula could easily expose the opposition if the state opts to compromise their candidates.
However, Kioni cautioned the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, stating that it was under scrutiny, noting that by-elections will serve as a litmus test for public trust in the electoral body ahead of the general poll.
Here is that report that we highlighted for you at the beginning of this broadcast.
While welcoming defectors primarily from wards within Nairobi County, Kioni condemned Monday's zoning strategy by the opposition, which involved constituent parties agreeing to withdraw certain candidates in what they described as a tactical maneuver to defeat the broad-based government contenders. He warned that this approach could backfire.
The next leaguing scheme in this country, it is what is being done to parties. We have seen candidates being bought to ensure that their names don't eventually show up on the ballot. That is a leaguing method, and the UDA is trying it out now.
The Uhuru Kenyatta-led party is urging the IEBC to oversee transparent and trustworthy by-elections to restore voter confidence.
These by-elections mean very little to political parties. At least that is the position of Jubilee. But they mean everything to IEBC. We are watching the IEBC. We want to see whether they have learned from the mistakes of the past. Are they prepared to conduct the next general elections?
Meanwhile, in Machakos, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka accused the government of intentionally undermining devolution. Musyoka asserted The national administration continues to restrict county funding, while he alleges that government officials are indulging in extravagance.
Imagine if Governor Wavinya is operating within the 15%, by the way, is shared between the 47 counties. And the little that she gets, she's able to empower the youth that she's trying to do today. Imagine if we went up to national government, wapate 60%, na counties wapate 40%. In fact, in my view, we should make it 50-50, because all the stealing that is happening in Nairobi is because they have a lot of money to throw away.
Although speaking independently, both Kalonzo and Kioni have called on the government to urgently reach an agreement with public university lecturers to facilitate the resumption of academic activities. And the Orange Democratic Movement Party grassroots leaders in Kisumu County have expressed confidence that the Orange Party will remain strong and stable under the stewardship of Siaya Senator Dr. Oburu Oginga, even as post-Raila political era begins. Led by Kisumu Deputy Governor Dr. Matthew Sowili, the grassroots leaders, however, want the party echelons to embrace unity and avoid speaking from conflicted positions, as this will only work against the party ideals.
Dr. Oburu has been steadfast figure within our movement, a man of integrity, experience, institutional memory. His leadership during this period will ensure stability, continuity and preservation of Raila Odinga's vision for Kenya.
Now we know, and it has been said also, that the king has rested, but with it that the crown lives. And as a team now, it is incumbent upon us that the values that Raila Amolo Odinga believed in lives on and outlives the 80 years that he lived, that God allowed him to live with us.
We want to urge the honorable, the ODM members, the entire ODM members and the leadership of ODM, that at this critical moment, our leaders from the national government to the grassroots level should speak with one voice so that we don't confuse our supporters.
John Jacob Curry, Prime Edition.
The Kenya National Public Health Institute is warning of a possible upsurge in malaria, dengue, fever and cholera cases owing to erratic weather patterns and rising temperatures.
This comes as Kenya says it will leverage on the new community of practice for climate and health alongside 8 African countries to strengthen early warning systems, surveillance and resilience against climate-driven health threats.
Here is that report.
Warm temperatures and unpredictable rainfall are expanding the range and season of disease-carrying vectors such as mosquitoes, while flash floods have become breeding grounds for waterborne diseases.
It's reported that approximately 70% of human diseases are now zoonotic in nature. We are anticipating an increase in vector-borne diseases and also waterborne diseases. Drought has threatened our food security and our economic security.
Health experts warn that gaps in surveillance could delay detection and escalate outbreaks.
You can see cholera, which is at the top, malaria, flood, and drought. So these are purely, as you can see, either climate-induced or climate-sensitive conditions.
Currently, outbreak reporting takes up to 48 hours.
As health personnel, we can make significant progress without incorporating meteorological data to our early warning system. It helps us to be more predictive and more proactive.
To mitigate further losses, the Kenya National Public Health Institute, in collaboration with the Kenya Meteorological Department, is pushing for integration of climate indicators such as rainfall, temperature and vegetation cover into national disease surveillance systems.
And it is time we leverage on the available resources for climate change, for research, to adopt innovative interventions in prevention, and also to establish strong, resilient systems.
Further, Kenya is leveraging the Health Emergency Preparedness, Response and Resilience Program that includes the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, Burundi, Rwanda, Malawi, Sao Tome and Principe, Zambia and Mozambique to enhance technical capacity.
So it is time we leverage on available resources to establish resilient systems that will be ready in case of any shock, even if it's a financial or an economic shock to the health sector.
The establishment of the Community of Practice for Climate and Health is touted as a game changer in applying early warning systems and data-driven decision-making to address the health threats posed by climate change. Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Now, Kenya has scaled up its ability to prevent, detect, and effectively respond to the spread of zoonotic diseases among animals and also people.
This follows the launch of 2 key guidelines, namely the Rift Valley Fever Contingency Plan and the Human Brucellosis Testing Guidelines.
These new guidelines are expected to enhance coordination across sectors and also to protect both lives and livelihoods.
Here is that report.
Bye.
1-0.
At a joint event bringing together experts from health, livestock and environmental sectors, the Ministry of Health officially launched the Rift Valley Fever Contingency Plan and Human Brucellosis Testing Guidelines tools described as critical in Kenya's fight against the spread of zoonotic diseases.
When livestock suffer, households suffer. The contingency plan that we launched today is designed to change that story.
The development of these documents were made possible in partnership with the International Livestock Research Institute, ILRI, that helped to develop the scientific basis.
That symbiosis allowed the government to provide us as the researchers with guidance on the right questions that we needed to ask and the right focus that we needed to take.
Experts also raised concerns on the use of low-quality diagnostic tests leading to incorrect treatment and unnecessary healthcare spending, estimated at over 65 million shillings annually.
And we'd like to heed this example where we write a 5-year contingency plan, which allows us to be ready in case of any emergency. We prepare adequately, we're able to resource mobilize and put in systems in advance.
Rift Valley fever, transmitted by mosquitoes, affects both animals and humans and can be fatal. During the 2006-2007 outbreak, the country lost more than 155 lives, 50,000 livestock, and over 2 billion shillings in economic damage. Brucellosis remains a silent burden, with over 100,000 cases reported annually. Brucellosis has affected many households, but treatment remains out of reach for most.
Sasa ningeomba serikali wajali sisi. Watuwekee mashini za kupima na madawa. Ndiposa tusaidike. Unaweza tumwa ninunue dawa sina pesa.
The new National Brucellosis Prevention and Control Strategy seeks to enhance integrated surveillance under the One Health approach. Mariambo reporting for the Prime Edition.
This November, Machakos University marks a decade of academic excellence, innovation, and transformation. Machakos University invites you to the 10th graduation ceremony on Friday, the 7th of November 2025 from 8:30 a.m. A proud moment for our graduates, parents, staff, and the entire Machakos University community. Be part of our celebration as we commemorate 10 years of nurturing innovators, leaders, and change makers, shaping a sustainable future. The theme of our graduation is celebrating a decade of excellence. Machakos University, co-creating sustainable futures.
Mama Josh, uko na bahati sana, Mama Kenti alikuwa hapa jana.
Mira, asanti.
Na mbona umetoka kwa kitanda? Bado hujapona?
Mama kwa wapi? Mbona mjakuja na yeye?
Mimi nataka tu kuongea na huyo nasi. Daktari yuko wapi?
Daktari nilimpigia akaniambia ni discharge jina.
How sure am I utaki kuniulia mtoto?
Na nini umebeba kwanza?
Kuletea mayai?
Wewe ndio unajua sasa.
Lomba isupu indai.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Tom, on to music extravaganza.
That's right, and I know you're starting the story.
Nandi County, in collaboration with the Gersthofen City Youth Orchestra from Germany, has hosted a cultural festival aimed at promoting cultural expression and strengthening ties between two communities.
All right, the event held at Koitalel University featured a vibrant mix of orchestral performances, traditional songs. There were poems there. There were also plays there that celebrated the rich heritage and also identifying the participating communities.
Jackie Masharia compiled these reports.
A blend of Kenyan and German artistry came alive at Koitalel Samurai University in Nandi County. The Gersthofen City Youth Orchestra from Germany captivated guests with a powerful symphonic performance. On the other hand, the Nandi community staged The Last Spear of Nandi, a play performed by Kenyatta University students. The production paid tribute to Koitalel Arab Samurai, the revered Nandi leader remembered for his resistance, resilience and defense of his people's dignity. Speaking during the festival, Nandi Governor Stephen Sang said the performances were a powerful showcase of cultural diversity and a demonstration of how art can bridge communication among different communities.
Kenya has exploited the beautiful beaches that we have and the savanna life that is the safaris and savanna life in Masai Mara. But we want to showcase to the entire world that Kenya has greater opportunity and potential in tourism beyond our beaches and beyond our safaris in Masai Mara and the other areas.
On his part, Gersthofen first Mayor Michael lauded the collaboration, saying it marked the beginning of a long-term partnership focused on culture and development.
55 young people between 14 and 22 make music with young people in Kenya, and that is what we political and executive and all parents work for, to create understanding for the young people over cultures, to understand the other cultures, and that is the best way to do that.
The exchange celebrates friendship, art and shared heritage, while exploring opportunities in tourism and cultural cooperation. Jacqueline Masharia for Prime Edition.
Saturday, October 7th, 2023 in Israel was a day meant for joy and celebrations, the Jewish festival of Simchat Torah.
Now, instead, it became a day of unimaginable terror after a militant group, Hamas, launched a coordinated and prolonged attacks from the Gaza Strip.
The carnival attack left over 400 people dead and 251 more kidnapped and taken to Gaza.
Maya Pariza survived the horrifying ordeal and was recently here in Kenya for the Hamas terror attack commemoration, and took time to share her story of resilience and also survival.
23rd of October 2025, the Israel ambassador to Kenya, Gideon Behar, organized a commemoration and remembrance event for the October 7th, 2023 Hamas terror attacks in Israel. Dubbed the day music stood still. Among the diplomats, leaders and Kenyans in attendance was a young woman whose presence carried the weight of the memory of that terrible day. Maya Pariza, a survivor of the attack of the Nova Music Festival. In a powerful and deeply personal address, Maya, an Israeli-American security research engineer, shared the harrowing moments of survival and the enduring trauma, offering a first-hand account to what transpired on that dreadful day.
So going back to this day, the party starts at midnight. It wraps around 4 or 5 p.m. We went to the party. Already a group of our friends, Eitan and his friends, already started to grab our place for the chilling area. and we built up together this amazing camp. We had no reason to believe something is wrong.
A day that was meant for joy and celebration turned into a nightmare early Saturday morning at about 6:30, when they least expected.
I remember the music was still going on at first, and when I looked in the sky, I can't describe how many rockets I've seen, and it appeared like white lines just appearing, and then like you see in explosions, and the rest of the lines would just continue, and we would understand that they're coming to the rest part of Israel, the more center part. And on that day, hundreds of rockets were launched at us, just at civilian places, cities, wherever they can, wherever they can hit. When the attack started, I remember just looking at the sky, and I couldn't breathe.
Maya recounted the frantic escape, waving through the dead and wounded littering the roadside, and the terrifying 24 hours she and others spent hiding in shelters, constantly listening to the gunmen outside.
The security guard was running for everyone staying there, telling us to evacuate because it's dangerous and that the party is not going to be brought back. It didn't stop, it just continued, more and more and more and more rockets.
The trauma of the Supernova Festival and the wider October 7th attacks, which left over 1,163 people dead and 251 kidnapped, remains an open wound.
Usually the police in Israel picks up the phone within seconds. They never wait more than 3 seconds. But this time the police didn't answer. And I can't describe to you how scared I was at this time, because I understood that something else is going on, and we're in this area. But we didn't understand that they're terrorists. I'm calling the police. All of a sudden, we're hearing gunshots.
Maya, who has kept her festival wristband on since the attack, has turned her survival into a mission, speaking globally to raise awareness for the hostages that were held for over 2 years and the victims who were murdered.
2025 is not the solution. I think diplomacy and peace offering is the solution for a prosperative world. And this is what I came here to share, because now the social media is filled with propaganda, it's filled with misinformation. We mourn every single life that has been taken from us since the war and even before it. And I hope for the Palestinians that now that they will be given another millions and billions of dollars, that this time they will not use it to funnel, to build tunnels and to fund terror. I want the world to make sure and to step in, now that everyone is so interested in freeing Gaza and freeing Palestine. I ask the world to be also a part of the solution, and I want to honor all of the beautiful souls that have been taken from this day, deaths that have been cut too short, lives that have not been fulfilled.
Soon after these attacks, Israel launched a full-scale retaliation attacks against Hamas that led to thousands being killed in Gaza, only ceasing fire in October this year after a deal was brokered by US President Donald Trump. Israel Ambassador to Kenya Gideon Behar has welcomed the truce that is aimed at bringing a sense of lasting peace after decades of conflict.
Today, in this event, we have brought a survivor of this massacre to give a testimony for people in Kenya to understand what has been enduring on Israel already for the last 2 years, and what has happened on this horrible day, the 7th of October, and to understand the point of view of Israel in that issue. There is a need for more, of course, stronger cooperation, and I want to assure you that Israel stands beside Kenya in these issues, and we have demonstrated that in the past when Kenya suffered horrible terrorist attacks. We very much welcome Donald Trump agreement and deal on Gaza, and it gives us a lot of confidence that this conflict will be solved. Nataka kufanya kazi na wa Kenya.
Threats of yesterday are not threats of today, because it calls us to be alert with a new trend so that we are not stuck in the old ways of doing things. We got an opportunity to send some officers from Nairobi County for further training in Israel, fully paid.
Maya's voice is one of resilience, but her message is clear. The trauma of the Supernova Festival and the wider October 7th attacks remain an open wound, and to remember and honor those massacred was the first step towards security and justice. For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troinjue.
Now settled down to some business.
The 8th edition of the Changamka Kenya Shopping Festival officially kicked off today at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, bringing together over 300 exhibitors.
Speaking during the opening ceremony, Principal Secretary for Industry Dr. Juma Mukwana emphasized Kenya's key role in driving Africa's industrial growth and urged manufacturers to take advantage of new export opportunities following the one-year extension of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA.
This report was compiled by Trevor Ngeno.
Kenya's manufacturing sector remains a key pillar of the country's economic transformation agenda, contributing about 7.8% to GDP and employing over 300,000 people directly. The government aims to raise this contribution to 15% by 2027 through increased value addition, industrial diversification and export growth. Now in its 8th edition, the Changamka Kenya Shopping Festival serves as a platform to showcase the growth, creativity and potential of local industries.
You know, Changamka itself means festivity and celebration. We are here to celebrate the resilience, the pomp and the glory, the challenges, and all the good which Made in Kenya does.
We've seen the number of exhibitors also increase, but it's not about just direct sales. It's also about creating partnerships and business linkages towards different products.
The one-year extension of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which provides duty-free access for over 6,000 products to the U.S. market, offers an opportunity for local manufacturers to expand and attract foreign investment into value-added manufacturing.
Today there is a clear stampede of people that want to relocate their manufacturing from China, from India, to here, because if you're manufacturing in China and you're facing a 34% tariff into the US, and if you manufacture in Kenya, in fact it was 10% with AGOA, now it has gone back to zero, so where would you manufacture? So in fact, inadvertently, I think what the President of the US has given us is an opportunity for Africa to actually venture into manufacturing.
Organized by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers and the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, the festival is part of the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya campaign to promote local products. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
In this report to agricultural matters, underwriters in the agriculture sector want the government to subsidize insurance products under the agriculture portfolio.
The African Reinsurance Corporation Agriculture Manager Isaac Magina says that tax incentive on agriculture insurance products will increase insurance penetration, reducing the country's food import bill.
According to the Association of Kenya Insurance, 9%. The numbers are much lower than insurance premiums. Underwriters want the government to subsidize agriculture insurance products to make it accessible to small-scale farmers.
Agriculture insurance is one of the areas that needs to be subsidized by government because it really lends into protecting the agriculture sector and thus contributing to the food security situation, stabilizing the overall economic outlook of a country.
The African Reinsurance Corporation Agriculture Manager Isaac Magina says the subsidized premiums will further de-risk agriculture, shielding farmers from losses and increasing agriculture investments.
We have to explore ways to make insurance a bit cheaper, and this is when the aspect of insurance premium subsidy, agricultural insurance subsidy, becomes a hot topic.
Sometimes farmers do not have that income, regular income, that would enable them to pay insurance. That's why government sometimes comes with a subsidy.
The underwriters want farmers to purchase insurance premiums in groups to enjoy the economies of scales.
You can get farmers in a kind of like a cooperative or association. I believe they can find a way of spreading that premium and making it affordable.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Quality controls and enforcement of standards will drive Africa's intra-region trade.
Kenya Bureau of Standards says that lack of harmonized standards continues to suppress trade in Africa.
Speaking during the 10th anniversary of the International Electrical Technical Commission in Nairobi, KEB's Managing Director Esther Ngari says the Bureau will continue to spearhead Africa's qualities and standardization efforts.
Delegates advocated for a stronger alignment of standards to enhance cross-border trade and bolster quality infrastructure.
We are very aware that for us to be able to trade globally, we need the international standards. So we adopt the IEC standards, we adopt the IEC ISO standards that help our traders to be able to access the regional market as well as the global market. We are at the front line in terms of inspection of products, in terms of the products that are manufactured within the country to ensure that we assure the consumers that every product within our country has been inspected and meets the required standards.
We have very many electricity standards, not just for the traditional grids, but also for the renewable energy, which we like to incorporate more and more in the existing grids. So the interconnection of the grids, that's what we have standards for, but also the integration of renewable energy into the existing grids.
The government plans to overhaul Kenya's quality control framework, imposing hefty fines and lengthy jail time for anyone selling substandard or fake goods.
The government says the proposed standard bills 2025 seeks to protect consumers and boost industrial competitiveness while making the country an industrial base.
Now, the Kenya Bureau of Standards is currently holding public participation forums to gather views on the proposed National Bureau of Standards bill.
Industrialization Secretary Erastus Kateve also says the proposed legislation aims to modernize Kenya's standards framework and align it with the provisions of the 2010 Constitution.
Speaking in Uasin Gishu County, business leaders have emphasized the importance of stakeholder involvement in the nationwide exercise, noting that the bill aims to strengthen consumer protection.
So the forum is very important. It is a requirement of the Constitution that we seek the input of our stakeholders. Our stakeholders include consumers, it includes manufacturers, it includes even the retailers.
So in matters of trade, industry and investment, this bill is going to jumpstart the better agenda. It's also going to help us to achieve our mandate as a ministry in terms of opening up our products to the external market. And one way is to have the standard bill aligned to the expectation of the export market.
We are taking our second commercial break.
Daniel Wahome is on control on that set.
Wewe ni mpenda soka? Na je, wajua kuwa KBC mwenzio wako wa dhati michezoni anakujali? Ndio maana KBC Channel 1 hukuletea taarifa na uchanganuzi wa soka.
Kafu ndio wamechukua usukani
humu nchini, barani Afrika na ugaibuni, ikiwemo EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga na ligi zingine. Mashabiki pia hutuzwa kwa kujibu maswali kuhusiana na soka.
Swali letu la leo.
Haya yote ni kwenye kipindi cha Dunda Dunda kwenye KBC Channel 1 kila Ijumaa kuanzia saa 5 asubuhi hadi saa 6:30 mchana.
Nawahimiza Wakenya waendelee watch Dunda Dunda Show.
KBC, wenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Nairobi United registered their third win of the 2025-2026 FKF Premier League season after beating Bandari FC by 3-1 at the Dandora Stadium to move up to 6th position on the table with 9 points. Prince Buregea got United off to their best ever start against Bandari, putting them ahead in the 6th minute of the game. That lead only lasted until the 39th minute before Jeffrey Ojunga leveled the score as the match went into the break tied at 1-1. Enoch Machaka and Shami Kibwana, however, netted a goal each in the second half for United as they collected 3 points to move 5 points behind leaders Kakamega Homeboys, who have played 2 games more. The loss leaves Bandari 14th on the log with just 6 points from 6 matches.
Ni Prince Buregea. Wow, wameanza mapema kweli kweli the Nai boys. Side Suma. Cheza na Geoffrey Mondi Ojunga. Ojunga! Machaka. Pembeni sasa. Duncan Omala Odhiambo anakataa Pio Junior. Nafasi! Enoch Momanyi Machaka. Momanyi! Penalti nzuri na wamulika wana Bandari. Na kushambulia sasa, transition nzuri. Duncan Odhiambo Omala amemkanyagia Machaka. Wapo wawili, Shami Mwinyi Kibwana. Shami! Zimefika tatu.
Sevens rugby head coach Kevin Wambua has named a 12-man Moran squad that is set to represent Kenya in the 2025 Zambezi Sevens Challenge, scheduled to take place this weekend in Harare, Zimbabwe. The Kenya Sevens second side is a blend of young talent and high flyers who are expected to rise to the occasion on a competitive forum as they gain the much-needed exposure. The team, which will be captained by John Okoth, departs for Harare on Thursday this week.
The Morans, fresh from finishing third in the 2025 Safari Sevens in Nairobi, will head to Harare for this year's Zambezi Challenge Sevens, all determined to give their best in a tournament where they have registered good returns. The current team may be different from their predecessors who have won 2 titles previously, but they are confident they will step up to the challenge, according to head coach Kevin Wambua, who named the traveling party on Tuesday after their training session at the RFA grounds.
It's all about ticking our boxes in terms of our player growth, and just these boys playing together, getting that experience. It will go a long way in helping us qualify, in helping us in our preparations to qualify to get back to 7-1.
Notable inclusions include Shujaa flyer Floyd Wabwire, Kristan Ojwang, Clinton Amukwati, Gabriel Ayimba, Dennis Abukuse, while the squad also features young talents such as Jackson Siketi, Rivon Ambale and Daniel Kipchirchir, and regulars Brian Mutua.
We were in Mauritius. Yeah, we took our medals home. We played in Ghana. Yeah, it's been a good experience so far with the boys.
Proper build up to we're having the Division 2, and the ultimate goal is getting back to Division 1. So we are going to treat the tournament with all respect.
The Morans are in Pool B alongside Pitbulls and Old Ararians of Zimbabwe in the Zambezi Challenge that will also feature Zambia, Botswana and South Africa.
Ndio ushindi, bali tunaendelea kujaribu kupata ile toita combinations na kuweza kupeleka vijana wengi wapate kucheza huko nje, kucheza katika timu ya taifa na matimu ya huko nje.
Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
Golfer Isaac Makoha is hopeful of winning a gold medal at the forthcoming Tokyo 2025 Summer Deaf Olympics 6th of this month. to become the first Kenyan deaf golfer to ever win a medal in the games and wants to go 2 steps higher this year. The 33-year-old will represent Kenya in Tokyo together with the experienced duo of Adan Wario and Gilbert Alikula and teenage sensation Jacinta Ri, who will be making her debut at the Summer Games. The team of 4 has been fine-tuning their preparations at various golf clubs across Nairobi ahead of their trip to Tokyo.
Brazil, I managed to get a bronze, and this time I'm very confident I'll get a gold. There are no doubts. I'm ready, and I'll ready to get the gold medal. In Brazil, there are several lessons that I learned, and I've worked on them, and I'm ready this time around.
And Athletics Kenya will kick off the 2026 track and field season. The early launch of the track season is to ensure athletes are in peak form ahead of major international competitions. After on the 16th and 17th of January next year, then Kapsabet on the 14th to the 16th of March. 8th of March. National Stadium and the Ulinzi Sports Complex by invitation only. Series to prepare for major international competitions, including the 2026 Glasgow Commonwealth Games. Team Kenya will be seeking to improve on the impressive performance from the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, where they finished third in athletics with 6 gold, 5 silver, and 9 bronze medals. And Sunderland moved up to 4th place in the English Premier League after they came from a goal down to draw 1-1 with Everton last night at the Stadium of Light. Everton went into the score sheet first through Iliman Ndiaye's fine solo effort in the 15th minute, but it was later cancelled by Granit Xhaka, who scored his first Sunderland goal with a deflected strike early in the second half. In the Italian Serie A, Lazio comfortably beat Cagliari 2-0, while Genoa scored in added minutes to register a narrow 2-1 victory over Sassuolo. And in the Spanish La Liga, Real Oviedo and Osasuna played to a goalless draw at the Estadio Municipal Carlos last night.
Anajai can wriggle his way into the penalty area. He's still going, and he scores. Well, he got a shot away. It was blocked, and now Granit Xhaka. It's deflected in. 42 seconds.
Isaacsen gets away from one. Isaacsen! Gustav Isaacsen to the rescue for Lazio. Takanyi wraps it up emphatically.
Martin's corner, Muric punches. Here is Malinovsky! Rolling back the year. Lorienté with the ball in. And what a chance for that man Berardi. Martin's ball in is really dangerous. And Ustigar has surely won it. Perfect delivery.
That's the sport for tonight. And for those of you who love European football, it's a UEFA Champions League night, so lots to cover up tomorrow in our news bulletins. Have a good evening. My name is Daniel Wahome. Back to Tom and Muchuma.
Many thanks indeed, Daniel, there from try line to goals and back to finishing line. Of course, there was refined golf there as well. Always a pleasure, Daniel. Well, we have to bring this to an end.
Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms. Quick acknowledgements, especially on the story on AU jobs and the university lecturer strike. Mixed reactions across the board. Eric Gedengi, thank you for keeping it KBC Channel 1. Gerali Mwaka watching KBC Channel 1 from KC. David Aboga watching KBC Channel 1 from Nairobi. We could go on and on and on. We do appreciate your company. I am Muchuma Odim. What's unlimited for tonight is Lucy Moura.
And I am
Say your name.
I'm Mboya. We'll be back again next week. From all of us, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Tushinde.com. Cheza safe, cheza smart. Gambling is addictive, not for persons under the age of 18 years.
Dosi amelala. Sukuma moja. Wewe pia ndio muoga. Ndio maana Master Demi ilikupita. Demi haiko nipita bwana. Mimi najaza entry ticket zangu. Wewe hata unajua namba ya kusenda.
Sini star 419 hash.
Option. Ni Probox. Bwana finya hiyo kitu.
Mfinye.
Finya hiyo kitu.
Mfinye.
Finya hiyo kitu.
Mfinye.
Finya bwana.
Iko Probox kwa star 419 hash option 3. Fresh design ndani ya light commercial vehicle. Cargo space ni kubwa na kama haitoshi iko foldable backseat for more space. Kamera ni mbili mbele na kamera ni mbili nyuma. Injini yako ni 1500cc. Nguvu na picking guaranteed. Hii itakuserve whether ni familia, biashara, camping, ita come through.
Fungua gate. Fungua gate. Fungua gate. Fungua gate.
Wewe